And we would love for our playwright, Amira Al Amin, to join us.
Bravo. Bravissimo.
Yes, thank you, Amira, for the beautiful play. Thank you, actors, for a lovely performance. We would love, Amira, for you to say some words about your process, what inspired you to write the play, what this has been for you.
Okay, can everybody hear me?
Okay. Can you, I'm sure you can hear me better now.
Yeah.
Okay. The process, or the inspiration, I'll be brief. I saw a couple on the train, and they were like kind of old, like 70s plus, straight. And it just kind of got me thinking, like, I'd be speculating, for real. And I was like, what if one of them had always been closeted, like their entire life? And the original idea for the play was to write that, like a character who's in their 70s, who had been closeted their whole life, but had like one queer experience that they never got to actualize. It's changed a lot, and I like where it's at now, but that was the original inspo, and I also wrote this for a class, and now it has grown beyond that. So that was the inspo, and then your first question was the process?
Yeah, just what has the playwriting process been for you?
Oh, okay. Honestly, I've learned that collaboration is like crucial to writing a play. Like if you don't have other people reading it, if you don't have people telling you what they think, you just kind of like hold yourself in as a writer, and that is like so the opposite of what you want to do. Like you want it to feel real and genuine, and you can't do that unless like other people tell you that this feels real and genuine. Like, which kind of contrasts like what you want to hear as a writer. Like you don't want to be like, it matters what other people think to an extent. So I've learned that. And then the process of writing it has been very vulnerable. Like I feel kind of butt naked for real. I was so scared for this just because a lot of what you all have seen has been like my life. Like the coming out scene, it's very similar to my own. And that's very scary to share with other people, but I mean like we've seen so many of those in media at this point that I kind of feel braver doing it, so that has been the process.
Thanks for sharing it.
Thank you for accepting it. I think I got it.
All right. Y'all hear me?
Yeah.
All right, we have time for probably 2 or 3 questions, but before we get to those questions, I would love if you all could just call out words that you feel right now after seeing Amira's work.
True.
Proud. True, proud. Emotional. What else?
Authentic.
Authentic. I love it. Love. Yes.
How do you say like that cyclical? Because it just kept coming around, you know? They kept coming around. And that was
Cyclical is a good
glorious.
word. Yeah.
Glorious.
Glorious. Yes. All right. Does anyone have any questions or thoughts that they'd love to share with Amira? Yes, over here.
Amira,
Hi.
sorry Amira, my name is Jeremy. I'm from Ohio. Yeah, so I kept hearing notes of Ohio, and I went to the University of Akron and transferred I went to the University of Akron my freshman year, but I transferred to Ohio State.
Period. Go Buckeyes.
So when you kept mentioning Akron General, I was like, I know that, and I kind of, Grace moving to Charlotte moving to like a bigger city, me moving to DC. I lived in, Columbus for 11 years, moved to to DC, and have done, a stint in New York as well.
Wow.
And so I just wanted to know, I'm sure based off the response that my question is already answered, are you from Ohio?
Oh my God,
Did you have experience?
Yes, I'm from Cleveland, but my mom's family's from Akron, my dad's family's from Cleveland, so I've kind of got a mix of both there. And my brother goes to school in Cincinnati, so we all over,
Yeah. So I really just resonated with that type of lifestyle. There's not a lot of diversity in Ohio. There is, in certain parts of Ohio, there's like 4 major cities in Ohio.
Yeah.
The rest of it is just plains.
Yeah.
Like you drive down 71, 75, and it's just farmland. But then you move to these bigger cities and you get this bigger identity about yourself, and it kind of, not necessarily forces you, but you feel more welcome into tapping into those deeper areas where in places like Ohio, they have been like compressed. So when I started hearing Notes of Ohio, it's like, this girl is from Ohio.
And true, yo.
So thank you for answering that, and I really enjoyed, the reading, and thank you for bringing Notes of Home.
Thank you.
Thank you.
True! Setting just dropped. Yeah. Yeah, that's so true.
Thank you. Next question. We have one over here. Oh, no. Oh, okay. We have one right here in the front.
Hey, Grady.
Hi, Amira. Great show.
Thank you.
I'm curious about the title, how it relates to the show, and what inspired it.
Ooh, great question. It was honestly originally in the script, and I cut it out just because I'm still kind of torn on how I feel about like referencing a title in a piece, but originally the title was kind of almost like minimizing girlhood, just because I think that I've been seeing a lot on social media, people either like claiming like I'm just a girl, or like kind of tossing it aside when it's like girlhood is so multifaceted the same way that I think womanhood is. I think that girlhood just doesn't get enough credit. And I wanted to display that in this piece because like while the girls are girls, there's a lot going on. Like Charlotte said, she's juggling so much. Evelyn's coming to terms with her sexuality. And just like growing up alone is like almost labor in a way. So I kind of wanted the title to symbolize that.
Thank you.
Hi, Amira. So you talked earlier about collaboration in the playwriting process. I would love to know from you and the actors as well if the show changed in any way after you guys were able to get your hands on it and how it changed.
Ooh. Yeah, it changed the way like a baby does from like toddler to adult. Just like that. Like, I don't know if I'm speaking for you guys, but when they first got it, it was like one act and then one scene in quote unquote act 2. And then since then, it honestly changed when we had that first table read, because I had met the cast, I heard like how they performed, their portrayal of the characters, and I just wanted so much more for them and also for the characters. Like specifically the mothers, I just loved their performance. Like, woo, yes! And there was so much less for them in the beginning. And I remember like being in my room thinking like, oh my God, like I have to give Karen and Lindsay more. Like I just personally want to see more. And I think y'all nailed that, frankly. So yeah, that's at least what I think has changed. I don't know.
So initially it ended at the wedding scene. And then we read it like a couple days ago before this. And a couple of us hadn't read the additions yet. Like, I don't know. I was going to. I was like, okay, like fresh, like whatever. And the coming out scene was added, and I was like literally an absolute mess because I'm actually glad that I had the experience of reading it like freshly with everyone, with Karen, who's so, oh my God, it was so good. And so that, like, oh my God, kudos to Amira, because I feel like that is one of the most like authentic, beautiful, heartbreaking coming out scenes I've ever read, like in a play or a piece of media. And it, like, every time I read it, it just like, yeah, it crushes me. So that, I think that in itself seriously shaped so much of like Evelyn's experience in the show.
Okay, I was just
when it ended with the wedding, we didn't get, so in addition to that, we got to see all of them after college and them go apart and come back together and learn. So it was just, I think it was so much more satisfying in a way to see how they both grew and then came back together, and she didn't have to live with that Andrew for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, it felt like almost felt like a different play.
Yeah.
It changed so much in adding it, and I like Charlotte like happy endings, so that made me feel because it just felt a lot of it, and having to see it a lot more complex, and it was really interesting to see where they went after and how like I like that they ended up together. So it was sweet.
Sorry. The mothers, like, when you read the first draft, like, you have Evelyn's mom who is, like, she seems so supportive. And so I think part of the punch of the coming out scene is that you add, it's a complete turnaround from how you think she'd expect, and that's how Evelyn feels. And then we have Charlotte's mom who, for a lot of the play, she's funny, but we don't, like, love her. And she ends up, like, being the one that, like, pushes Charlotte to, like, her fullest potential. And so I feel like that's so crazy that, like, to think that, Amira, like, you almost didn't add those two scenes.
I know! What the heck?
Completely, like, switched.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And that was honestly really intentional. I'm glad, like, y'all caught that.
Yes. And that was one of the things, I loved that surprise, because, I mean, with the original, first draft that we read back in March, you would have thought that Gwendolyn, my character, just was like so prejudiced, which was what made her challenging to play. But the surprise is that no, it's Grace that would have the issue with it, and just to see her motivation, Gwendolyn's motivation of it's not about whether or not I have a problem with it. It's I know how you're going to get treated, and that's so that was I mean that was a surprising thing and kind of a nice. I'm losing the words, just a different take on it than I would have expected, but also when I read playing. And I looked forward to, especially in the second act, the scene where I'm smoking and just
that was
and firing her up. And then having that scene with you, I loved that. Yeah. So yeah, it was completely different play. And and also last thing, just how much more fleshed out. Like I got more of a sense, the different dimensions of each of our characters and how human they were. Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
One last thing, I also like that Charlotte called Evelyn out a little bit because that was bothering me so much when I did it, but I was like, no. It's her character. I don't want to be like I didn't want it to seem like I was taking Charlotte's side because I was playing her. But it really I was kind of like, hey, cut the girl a break. Like maybe you can be a little understanding. And I love that she calls her out and she understands it and like accepts it, like and was able to get it off her chest. I love that. So that was very personally satisfying.
Yeah, and she deserved to, I think. Yeah.
The biggest thing for me is healing and reconciliation. It showed examples of it because a lot of times in situations, people think you have to go no contact with people from your past because of an argument, when really so much could be resolved in a 20-minute conversation. With people being humble and being willing to apologize. So for me, that was beautiful to see, especially with the parents. It gives hope. It gives hope for other families, for other queer folks who come out to their parents that initial reaction might not be the forever reaction.
I hope so.
Somehow you wrote, you did an amazing job writing an ending that I found so satisfying, even though no one said the perfect thing at any point, and we know they're not perfect people, but I felt very satisfied and hopeful for where it would go. So I like that.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, Amira, what's next for you as an artist?
Well, I'm gonna go to grad school. I will hopefully be attending University of St. Andrews in September in Scotland. And I'm trying to get a master's in creative writing. I honestly don't think I can ever stop writing. I think I would unfortunately be dead if that happened. So. For writing, yes. What? Huh? Oh yeah, my mom was like right all along. Period. Thanks, Mom. Thank you. I think that kind of sums up what's next. I still definitely want to write plays, write books, write short stories, write anything at this point, because I love to do it. So yeah, that's what's next as far as I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I must say, working with you has been the favorite part of my job this season. I thank you for your creativity. It's been such a pleasure to work with you. Y'all actors have been wonderful. These actors have been with us for months. Yeah, we actually had a private reading for Amira to hear the script, and it was like a tiny invited audience, including some folks who were here. Thank you. So it's just been a wonderful process. I also want to shout out Amira's dramaturg, Joan Cummings.
Yes, Joan!
Who worked with Amira to develop that second act. And I think it's time for our raffle, because we about to...
There's a raffle?
Oh, no, cut it. Never mind. Well, thank you all so much for being here. We hope that we see you at our next performance, which will be June 21st and 22nd at PG Community College. It is called Silence is Violence, Wish Me Well. And it's a beautiful performance. We worked with 7 commissioned young playwrights, so playwrights in their 20s who are YPT alumni, to write about returning citizens, formerly incarcerated people. They interviewed them and wrote pieces about them from the perspective of wellness. So we're really excited to present that to you. It'll be directed by Thembi Duncan and Jeremy Keith Hunter. We have an awesome cast. They start rehearsals on Monday, so Tuesday. So yeah, we hope that you continue to join us, follow us. For all you new people, keep coming back. For everybody who traveled from Ohio, safe travels. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. Bless everybody. And thank you to the bus boys and poets for having us. Much love. Good night, everybody.